It is crossover Thursday, which is not what I call it, and today I'm looking at 0 Hours, Christmas in Time, issue number 2, but really it is issue number 3, because 0 Hours, Christmas in Time, it had a weird numbering thing, where issue number 1 was actually issue number 4, and issue number 2 was actually issue number 3, and if that makes your head hurt, wait until you try to follow the story. This is meant to be a pseudo-sequel to Christmas on Infinite Earths, and I've said before, I really don't like Christmas on Infinite Earths. I think it is a load of nothing masquerading as something, and what are the chances that I'm going to like something that is deliberately trying to follow in its footsteps? And the thing is, I think this actually improves on some of my criticisms of Christmas on Infinite Earths. However, it introduces a slew of other problems. However, there is one consistent problem between the two, and that is that there just isn't a central character. There isn't a clear protagonist. And in Christmas on Infinite Earths, the best you got was Old Man Superman, by virtue of him being in most of it. But in this one, I feel they did have protagonists, they had central characters, and they just forgot to put them at the centre. Like Green Lantern's Kyle, I think he is meant to be one of the main characters, but like he is hardly in this issue. And then there are other people like Gary Gardner, Green Lanterns. I think he was meant to be a central character, because in the final part, he's really prominent. And then there's people like Superboy and Supergirl. I think they were meant to be more important, and Bart. And it just really is annoying, because you don't really know who you're meant to be following in this story. Like, a story should be told from someone's point of view, and both Christmas on Infinite Earths and 0 Hours, Christmas in Time, it isn't told from any specific point of view. It's just a series of things that happens with a rotating cast of characters. But let's just get into the story. We begin, and the baddie, he is fighting Fireman, and he has absorbed Fireman's powers, so now he looks like Fireman a bit. And he has just defeated the Justice Society of Superheroes, and he's holding them captive. And some of them are upside down, so we'll turn it upside down so we can identify them all. Right, there we have got Minuteman. That is Black Panther. That is Mr. Midnight. That is Sandman from the Metallica song. This one, that is the Pratt. And I think that is already upside down one, so let's turn it the right way around. There's Dr. Fates' helmet. The ones facing the right way, that is the Flash, my favourite version of the Flash, because he has a funny hat. This woman, I think it is the Flash's wife. I don't know why she's been captured. This one, I think that's Johnny Thunders, who I absolutely hate. That is Starman, and this one has really been annoying us, because I can't work out who it's meant to be. I tried to do a process of elimination, because we've got all these characters we know it isn't, and then characters who it obviously isn't, like Batman or Superman or Spectre or Wonder Woman, and I just can't work out who it is. Like, and it's not Mr. Terrifics, before you're guessing that, because the white Mr. Terrifics was dead at this point, and there was a black one, and he was much better. And there's Green Lanterns there, John Scott, my favourite Green Lanterns, he is watching the fight, and fortunately, if you're getting a bit confused about which one is which, he puts on his mask there, which is really helpful. And then here is where my criticism of this book not having a central character comes into play. This page we have 15 different superheroes appearing, and most of them are not given names, and some of them do not appear again after this. And of these 15 characters, there's maybe only 4 that are in some way relevant to the story or continue to appear prominently. Superman, for example, Kyle, and like this fella here, I have no idea who that is meant to be. Right, it looks like Despero. I tell you what, right, if this is meant to be Despero, and in the 90s they made him a hero, then please tell me in the comments below, because I'm not going to read any more DC comics. Right, and another thing I hear is, right, this is meant to be sequential art. Superman there, he has got her at his side and him at his side, but here it's completely different people. There's characters who weren't in there. It just really annoys me, little things like that. But we're back with the Justice Society of Superheroes, and this was a thing they did in the 90s. They wanted to make the Justice Society of Superheroes be really old and be suffering the effects of age. And so a lot of them were kind of like falling over and having heart attacks and things like that. And we found out during the fight with the baddie is called Monarch. Minuteman died, the Pratt died, Dr. Fate lost his powers, Black Panther had a heart attack, the Sandman from the Metallica song and Mr. Midnight, they just succumbed to old age and fell ill. And then John Scott, he decides that he has to retire as Green Lanterns because he is getting too old. So he gives Kyle his Green Lantern's ring. This is kind of a nice little moment. And then the Flash, he also decides to retire. And really, to be honest, he is just copying off John Scott. And what he does is he rips the lightning bolt off his costume, and I didn't think it worked like that. It just looks like a shirt, so why is it a separate part? And he tells Bart that it's up to him to keep the Flash name alive. And then there's an advert there for Stephen Hawkman's book. I've said before I want to read his books, but they just sound very, very confusing. So there we have got Green Lanterns, John Scott and the Flash retiring, but don't take this at face value. In a couple of pages they'll go back on this decision. So then, here again, we've got characters just popping up. Albino Man there, he wasn't in any of the pages before, and now he's suddenly there, and he's not in anymore. So all the heroes are start fighting these random people, and there's the baddie there, Monarch. He looks pretty good, I'll admit that. And here, we find out Mr. Midnight died. And the Flash, he decides, despite the fact that he just retired, that actually they do have to do something. So they go and get the Spectre. And Supergirl, she is pregnant, and Supergirl is helping her have the baby. And then this is like the cover here, a bunch of heroes standing at like the end of time, like this is the abyss where nothing is, and they start fighting more the baddies. And then Monarch shows up and he goes to shoot this girl, but Kyle rushes to help her. He's like, no, don't shoot her, I love her. And he gets shot instead. But when he gets shot, you'll notice he dropped John Scott's ring. There is an advert there for 0 Hours Christmas in Time. A really effective advert in 0 Hours Christmas in Time issue number 2, because everyone who saw this advert in this comic had already bought what it's advertising. And again, my criticism about it not having a protagonist. Are these meant to be the protagonist? Because Batman, he's appeared in one panel of this issue. Wonder Woman hasn't appeared at all, I don't think. Bart, he appeared in one panel. Superboy, I think he was in the background of one. This version of Starman, he hasn't appeared at all. This is the 90s version of Dr. Fate. He hasn't appeared at all. I don't even know who this character is meant to be. So Fireman, he starts fighting Monarch, and then this is the bit you saw at the start. Monarch, he absorbs Fireman's powers, and it's time travel in it, so that's why you didn't understand it. And while this happens, you can see the John Scott's ring. Someone picks it up. And then all the heroes, they rush into the void, the end of time, and there's Wonder Woman. According to that advert, one of the main characters of this crossover. And she's only appearing 3 pages before the issue ends. And here's Gary Gardner, another character that I assume was meant to be a focus of this story. He's shown up like a few pages before it ends. At the minute, he has got this weird costume that grows guns. And I do like this bit though, because Gary Gardner, Green Lanterns, he's meant to be a really unlikable character. But when he thinks nice things or he does something good, then it's kind of rewarding. Like here, because the story involves time travel, he's thinking, well, we can use the time travel to go back in time to before Jordan Halbert, the original Green Lanterns, before he went evil. And we can fix everything with him. And it's a nice little character moment. And there we've got Monarch, he's scheming, and there we've got the real baddie of the story. And the one that picked up the ring, and he says, couldn't let this just vanish, but no sense being reminded of a universe that will be no more. The end. This is Jordan Halbert. He's the big baddie of the crossover. That is a spoiler. This is a very confusing comic. It is kind of a mess. It's hard to follow. And the thing is, I think it is better than Christmas on Infinite Earths because it has a central idea and it sticks to it. It doesn't cop out, or it doesn't just introduce new elements. Like in Christmas on Infinite Earths, every 5 pages it was a new direction. Like 1 minute it would be all the supervillains teaming up, and then the next it would be the Anti-Monitor at the start of time, and or it would be a bunch of characters being sent on a quest that becomes irrelevant by the next issue. This one, however, all the time it is heroes versus a villain who wants to destroy reality, and that is just much more clearer and more exciting to read about than something that just never gives you any resolution. But at the same time, it isn't very good. It's confusing. There's no central focus. There's basically no character work in it, and it feels more like a mandate, a bunch of like editorial notes being written into a script, like, oh, we want to retire the Justice Society of Superheroes, do it in this. Oh, we want to introduce Bart as the new Flash, oh, do it in this. Oh, what about Supergirl, her baby, do it in this. And it's not very good. It's like, it could be better, but it could also be a lot worse. So I'm gonna rate this a confused 7 thumbs up.